Hello and welcome to another episode of the Electric Norwegian. I'm Mats. This is gonna be kind of a 24-inch summary. And also, what happened to the Kia EV3 video I promised you? Well, the short answer for the Kia EV3 video is that the SD card is gone. I can't find it. Having a few options on what to do. And I can either not make a video, or I can cobble together a few pictures and stuff and make a video out of that. It will be very, very strange without a car though. I can borrow it again, sure, but it'll be sort of unnecessary in the sense that I've tested a lot of cars this year. I would love to test even more, but simply between my job, my private life, and a few other things, I don't have the time to test as much as I would love to. And I love trying cars. It's really fun, and I enjoy that a lot of you watch. So it's always fun to see what cars gets most attention, because you don't really know. And I tried different things, some new, some old. And we get some cars here you don't necessarily get anywhere else. Sorry, I've spent most of since Christmas being sick. That's fun. That's what I wanted to do on my week off. No, I had plans for trying a few more cars. So I had a few videos for you over New Year's, but that didn't happen, sadly. How was this year? Well, it kicked off big actually, with an EV9, the big Korean Yank tank. And that was a very, very good car. Very good car. Kia have done a few interesting choices on materials inside their cars, which, well, they're debatable. They're not bad. I don't mind them that much, but they can create some debate. We'll get to those later. And then we tried the VW ID7 Saloon rear-wheel drive. I thought that was last year, but it was actually this year. And then we had an i3, a used car. I'll try and get my hands on a few more used cars this year, if I can. And then we had the back-to-back test of the Volvo EX30 and the BYD Dolphin. Both very, very good cars. Small, very reasonably priced, and good quality. I like them a lot. In some ways, maybe the BYD had a better interior than the Volvo, and the Volvo has had some of the... We can take that while we're at it. The Volvo EX30 in Norway starts at around 300,000 NOK, which is about 29,000 euros or thereabout, roughly. If you say 350,000 NOK with winter tires and stuff, okay, fine. The Dolphin starts at around the same thing, give or take the same price range. And the Kia EV3 starts at around the same price range, starts at around 350 for the small battery. That'll take you 400 and something kilometers. And then they go up from there. Well, not the BYD, because that's just one car with one trim level, at least here. But the Volvo and the Kia goes up from there. The Volvo has this four-wheel drive performance version with lots of power that costs 550, 600 NOK or thereabouts, around 60,000 euros. Oh god, I hate being sick in winter. There's so many noises you make. And I've added all these noises. That's why all these cuts are everywhere. Sorry about that. The Kia goes from 350 to closer to 500, I think. The Kia doesn't have four-wheel drive. And the Kia EV3, what it gives you is, it's a mini EV9 in many ways, the EV3. It's a smaller car. It's not that small. It's 4.3 meters or something like that. You have a small trunk. You have a relatively big boot. Plenty of space in the front row, and also nice space in the back row. And you can use it as a small family car if you have or one set of parents and one kid. And you can get a stroller and stuff in the boot. It's really nicely planned out. And then you have interiors. Kia decided to have a kind of plastic in their door cards and parts of their parts of their interiors that are... It isn't necessarily low rent. I noticed the same thing in the Kia EV9, and I think I said that this and this and this isn't necessarily what you're looking at when you look at the car for 80,000 euros. It's a bit low rent for that. Car's brilliant, I love the EV9, but you can nitpick on stuff. And the problem with the EV3 is that you think, okay, but for a car with a starter price of 35,000 euros, that's fine, you can forgive that. But you can't forgive it on the top level, because then it's a little bit too expensive for its own good. And the Volvo EX30 has the same problem with its interior and a few other things. It starts off being perfectly acceptable, and then by the time you get to the crazy four-wheel drive performance model, the interior falls a little bit apart. The Tesla Model 3, which is in the same price range, sort of doesn't anymore, because you have felt-covered big door pockets, you have proper materials, you have textile door cards. It's not super wow great materials, but it's not they don't necessarily feel cheap either anymore, and they're padded and it doesn't creak or anything. And the Tesla gives you a very good sound system from the start. I've been noticing that more and more as I drive, because I'm not pressing anything here. I'm just saying that a friend of mine was considering an EV3, and as he said, the car is brilliant, spacious, a massive range with the big battery pack. But Volvo can give you four-wheel drive on top. The Kia can't. Not yet, it's probably coming, but the price goes up even more. It's kind of, I don't know. But I love the Kia EV9. Great car, quiet. You sit, in many ways, it's a kind of a new version of the Kia Soul, which I owned, you remember. You sit high, and it's a relatively compact car, at least it feels like it. Spacious, massive range, decent sound system, decent infotainment system, a bit fiddly sometimes, but it works. I still think, yeah, you have to do things a little bit better on that front, but the rest of the car, very, very good. I absolutely adore the Kia. I was thinking, if I needed an affordable electric car, it wasn't a Tesla, I would actually deeply consider the Kia. I said the same thing about the BYD, but the Kia does what the BYD doesn't. When you need it to, it charges properly. And there's a preheat button on the battery pack. I don't think the BYD had. This it didn't have at the time being. The Volvo EX30, but I didn't like the buttons on it. It felt cheap, it felt plasticky in a different way than the Kia have done in its cars. Because it can't defend its own price in some ways. But that's how it is, sadly. Moving on, we had the Xpeng G9, the Opel Astra Tourer, the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. The G9 is one of those cars you drive and you think, how in the name of all that's holy is the Germans going to defend on this? Yes, I'm sure the EQS SUV is a better car. It costs easily twice as much. But when you look at the price and the range you get, the insane charge speed you get, no one is close to that charge speed. No one. Zip, apart from a Taycan maybe and a few other things. Maybe a Lucid, but we don't get Lucids here. So we do, but they don't sell any cars, which is sad because I love the Lucid. I'd love to try one day. Great interior, great quality, wonderful chassis, just a brilliant car to drive. Really, Xpeng has come a long way, and I know that the other sellers of more traditional brands, they are aware of that. They look at the Chinese and they think these cars are innovating and they're coming with very good products very quickly. We don't have anything to match that. Opel Astra Tourer, I love a wagon. Great car. It's the Stellantis though, and you sometimes can see that, and it's just it's a disaster. But it's a decent enough car for the money, and it's a Tourer, and I love it, and it looks good. The Ioniq 5N though, that's its own thing. That's just an absolute riot. Both the Ioniq 5N and also the new Model 3 Performance. The Hyundai does its own thing so good that you just okay, yes, it's a laugh, it's a lark, it's funny, and you can turn it off. But it is a combustion car engine, gearbox, differential simulation that's just fun to play with, and the chassis is well set up. What the Model 3 Performance do that no one else can is that it can be ravagingly, insanely fast. Okay, the Ioniq is probably better on track, but I don't go on track, I go on road. And on the road, I think the Model 3 Performance is probably just as quick. And when you're done hooning around, you can just chill out and and then the Model 3, just as a Model 3, it delivers supreme efficiency numbers. The Hyundai can't do that. They're just constantly being thirsty. A bit like Jag in that way. That was also a brilliant drive that just devoured electrons. But I love it. So yeah, both cars really, really good fun. And I think Kia Hyundai is onto something here. They can do their own little thing and build a niche on that. I really think they can. BMW could have done the same thing, but they dropped the ball. And then, of course, in between that, I sold my green Model S and I picked up my new Model 3. Love the Model S. Still going out there, still doing great, just working. Used TVs are just showing that batteries mostly hold up and things just work. And okay, maybe you have to change some suspension parts here and there and stuff, brake, but compared to combustion engine that's done 200,000-300,000 kilometers, oh, the upkeep is far less than that. Then we, of course, had the vacation. We went to France. We had great fun doing that. Would I rather have the new 700 kilometers long-range rear-wheel drive doing that? Sometimes, particularly when thundering down the continent. But, of course, is it a problem? Not really. But the option didn't exist, and it's like saying if I was a rich man. I loved it, but it isn't. And then, of course, you have the big seal. I've seen some people criticizing the seal for being just a car. And it is, but it's comfortable, it's fairly quiet, it's not quite settled in the suspension, I think. But apart from niggles, I really liked it. It's like if you like a comfortable, traditional layout to a car, mostly, then get a BYD. They make really, really good cars now. A little bit expensive for its own good, maybe. Depends on how you look at it and what you want. And the Peugeot 2008, good car, good interior, mediocre charge curve, sad infotainment system that just could do better. The i5 I really liked. I enjoyed the i5 a lot. The infotainment system isn't really good enough anymore. It sort of lost its own plot somehow. But it drove well, spacious, at least it's a wagon. So if you want a traditional BMW, get an i5. Get the wagon. Same thing. The ID.7 GTX is probably the best car on the ID platform. A few weeks later, I tried the Ford Explorer, and both of them are built on the MEB platform on the same interior, the same haptic buttons and stuff. And on the ID.7, they worked. I genuinely didn't think very much about them being haptic. In the Explorer, you grazed the button for the heated steering wheel, and things turned off, and the slider didn't work to do. It was just disaster. It was early ID3 all over again. It was just sad, particularly because it really worked so well in the ID7. And I got the feeling that Ford had gotten like the last year's model. Here, there's the parts you need. We picked them somewhere in the storage. Maybe they work. That's sort of the impression I got. I was like, because the Explorer was okay. They had a few good ideas going for it. And then they had the better infotainment system. But hey, the ID.7 is a great car, particularly in tourer form. It's just fabulous. I really enjoy that one. And then of course, we had the Hamburg trip. It's just a nice place, Hamburg. I should explore it more. Because things happen and we didn't have time. Which it makes it a little bit sad, because there's so much more we could have done. And then, of course, we have the Dongfeng Nami box. I'm sure you can criticize that car for being a lot of things, or not being a lot of things. You can criticize my filming for not being a lot of things, but it was dark, it was snowing, I really didn't have much time with the car, but I was a little bit stressed, and I saw that later, that some things could have been done better. Yes, I'm sorry. And it's winter, so it's dark constantly. Apart from now, because it's the morning, so we have some daylight. But it's cheap. Properly cheap. And speaking of interior quality, perceived quality, padded surfaces, all this, it's better. Some ways, it's a better interior in the Dongfeng Nami box for 20,000 euros than in the Kia EV3 for 35, and in the Volvo for 35. Which is like, what? This is supposed to be built by used cardboard boxes and, I don't know, dead cat or something. They just found lying around because it is put together as cheap as possible. It really isn't, or it doesn't feel like it, and it's fairly quiet, and it doesn't feel underpowered. It's a genuine surprise. It's not. Is it perfect? No, of course not. The CarPlay fell out and never came back, and the Bluetooth connection is... That actually didn't fall out, but it's a little bit stuff with it, nitpicking little things. And it didn't have navigation, so it doesn't have preheat, and it doesn't have a heat pump, and lights are mediocre. But as a local runabout, as an alternative for a used Leaf, yes, you have donkey's years of guarantees and all that stuff. We have pretty good guarantees in Norway, and rights as a buyer. 5 years of I don't know what it's called in English. Doesn't matter. We have if I buy a new car in Norway, if something breaks within 5 years, that's not my fault. I can take it back to the manufacturer and say, fix it. I demand you fix this because it's not supposed to be like this. And then they have to basically find out what it is and be able to prove I broke it. If they can't do that, then they have to fix it. That's the idea of it anyway. It doesn't have to work in practice, but that's how it is. You don't have any of that with a 10-year-old used Leaf or a 5-year-old used any car. You have this here. So for that, it's brilliant. Because you just charge it at home and it doesn't really matter anyway. And it is what it is. It's a really... You got this thing, it really makes everybody else think, what the heck are we doing? What is VW doing? What is Stellantis doing? If they don't revamp their entire interior infotainment and how they think of electric cars soon, they're gonna be they're really gonna be in trouble. Speaking of trouble, another thing we also saw this year, VW Group is in trouble. BMW probably also in trouble, but they doesn't talk about it. The Japanese car industry, though, oh my word! I mean, they're really in trouble. And Honda and Nissan merging. Okay, let's see. There are two companies doing about the same thing, having cars in the same segments, and no synergy effects there. No one has any good electric cars. Nissan have 2 electric cars. They could have been so much further ahead, but like BMW, they just dropped the ball and didn't bother picking it up again. And Daria is good, but it's not that good, and it's quickly becoming old hat in a segment, moving very, very quickly forward. Not least on the charging side. And the Honda doesn't have anything. They don't have any plans. They're kicked out of China, both of them, and they're losing everywhere else. And the Honda is in a different situation, particularly in America. But America is big, and the US car market is big, but the biggest car market in the world is China. If you lose 20-30% of your sales in China, you've lost then 20-30% of your sales permanent. They're not coming back somewhere else. There's a lot. That's billions of euros just gone like that to do your research and development and move the game onwards that you don't no longer have. And that's what these people are now suddenly finding out. That's why there is a crisis in VW and also in Mercedes. Just Porsche is shutting down showrooms, and then the Americans are just, we're going to have Chinese cars now. You can look at the Huawei, not Huawei, the phone producer, Xiaomi, the Xiaomi SU7 or whatever it's called. We haven't gotten it there. But I've seen a few videos. Doug Miro did one, and I was thinking, and he sort of said it himself. You can take that car, say it's have an import cost of $40,000. And then you have 100% tariff, that's 80. Then you put on another 10,000. Say you sell it for 90. You can sell that car for $90,000 and you can still get away with it. It's a bit like the GSU, the Dongfeng Nami box. You can sell that car for close to 30,000 euros and you can still get away with it. It's like, okay. You want tariff us? We're gonna get around those tariffs. So either you get your car industry in shape, or we're just gonna find a way to steamroll you. They did it on solar panels. They did it on wind turbines. They did it on everything else. They did it on batteries. Look at Northvolt. It's a complicated story, Northvolt, but still. Either you get your stuff together, or you're gonna go Chinese. I'm not saying Chinese are end all and be all, and I'm not condoning the BYD labor disaster they found in Brazil. There's so much to talk about there, but this is about global distribution and price and stuff, and who is dominating the markets in Asia and in Africa and in Latin America? The Chinese, mostly. So that's a few millions of people for your market. It doesn't depend on North America. It doesn't depend on Europe. They don't care. They don't need to. And then throughout then people are, oh, America. Like, yeah, no. Sorry, that's just no. That's not how it works. Either way, it's been a brilliant year. Thank you for watching. I really mean that. Thank you for taking time to watch my content. I do my thing and I try to improve it. I'm not perfect, but I hope I have some more time next year. I hope you had happy holidays and happy whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating. Now it's soon a new year, and I do hope you have a happy celebration of the old and goes into a new year with some positivity. A lot of exciting things are going on. Definitely, we can talk about that for another hour, but I won't bore you with that. So I'll see you next year. Take care. Bye bye.